I'm Dan and I've been designing kitchen gadgets for more than 40 years. I'm gonna test some kitchen gadgets designed for frying, and I'm gonna see if I can find a way to make them better. And I would make this come up a little bit higher. I think maybe this would want to dip down. Put maybe some weak spots in here so that this could double up. These are the gadgets I'm going to test. Deep fry basket, fry wall, splatter guard, 2-in-1 fry clip, the Norpro Tortilla fry basket, mini deep fryer set. Deep fry basket. Its purpose in life is to allow you to lower and raise food into and out of hot oil. Let's see how well it works. I've got a pot of hot oil. I've got some French fries here ready to go. Let's load the basket up. Okay, so I've got an oven mitt and it is not that conducive to these handles, but we'll give it a try. My dilemma here is what do I do at this point? Because if I let go, the handles are gonna fall into the oil. So I have some tongs to solve that, but that's kind of unfortunate. I don't have a good way to keep these out. If it was like this, the French fries, when they float up, they'd still be mostly contained. But as it is now, they're floating up and they're just going outside the basket. Time to extract. Not exactly sure how to tackle this. We have most, but not all of the French fries in the basket. Let's put it aside to drain. I'm gonna have to go in and save the jumpers. The fact that they jumped out pretty much defeats the purpose of the basket. I think I got them all, and here's what we got. Let's try them. And it's good. They're actually a little crunchier than I expected. Does the credit go to the basket or to the oil? Let's see how the fry basket compares to using a large kitchen sieve. Okay, cholesterol fans, we're ready to taste more French fries. This time the fries cooked in the sieve. No difference. For a effectiveness rating, let's give it a 2 out of 5. I was kind of disappointed and I wasn't thrilled about the way the handles just folded into each other. I don't think I would bother trying to do a left-handed test, a slippery left hand, to simulate any dexterity problems that people may have. I think I was just as disadvantaged right-handed as I would be left-handed. So we're gonna skip it for this one. For usability, I would drop it down once because I think there's no excuse for these two handles not to mesh into each other, at least lock into each other. My sense is it really did not do anything that special. So let's talk about a redesign. One thing I would do is look for a way to have these things clip into each other when they fold in. What if these were actually like a wave, a sine wave like this, so that when they come together, they hold themselves together? Maybe I would give these a shape that would allow them to come closer together. I think they would still mesh into each other so that it creates sort of a cage when it folds together so there aren't any large gaps. Let's talk about a buy rating, and this is such a crude item and I think you may have things in your kitchen already that you can improvise. So let's give it a 1.5. So I knew it looked a little difficult for me to lift up that basket, but I was just trying my best. Fry wall, Splatter Guard. It is designed to sit inside your skillet and catch whatever splatter is trying to make its way onto your stovetop. Let's see how effective the fry wall is. I've got the frying pan here getting up to temperature. I am going to place the fry wall Splatter Guard first. Now this is a high heat silicone, so putting it on the hot pan should not be any problem. There is some butcher paper around the table, and the reason that's down there is because it's going to be able to pick up any splatter that we do have. Bacon fans, ready? Put them in there. One thing I'm noticing, I'm not sure these little bits of bacon on the edges are going to cook because they're really sitting up against the wall. So I'm going to see if I can even the bacon out. I was able to put 5 pieces in. The bacon will shrivel up, so maybe that's going to help it fit, although it's going to be a tight fit. I'm seeing a couple of small dots of splatter, nothing to be super concerned about. So I got plenty of bacon fat. Let's flip it, even though we are not quite done. And they have shrunk to the point where I would say all 5 slices are pretty well immersed. So I think we're very much into edible territory. I'm going to start unloading. The drip spots, the splatter spots that we have on the brown paper, There are a couple, but they're pretty minor. The larger ones, I think, came from me using the tongs. Right now, I think the fry wall is doing a pretty good job. Let's see how the fry wall splatter guard compares with using a standard metal screen splatter guard. And my brown paper is, well, obviously, definitely is a lot more splattered than with the fry guard. That was rather conclusive, I think. So let's give fry wall an effectiveness rating, and I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. And the only reason I'm dropping it a half point is because two things. One is you want to make sure that the size of your fry wall fits your frying pan, because if it's too small or too large, it's just going to flop around. You're not going to be happy. So just make sure you get the right size or the right size frying pan for this. But also I'm dropping it down a half point because you lose a little bit of the surface area of your frying pan because your food may be up against the silicone wall. That's not horrific, but I will drop it down a half a point because of that. For usability, I would give this a 5 out of 5 because there's really nothing to it. It stores really well. It'll just fold up. It sits really well. You open it up and it's there. It is working whether or not you're playing with the food or not. It's not like the splatter guard where you're lifting it and you may get some splatter while you're doing that. So I would think usability is pretty high. And I would say that's part of the reason we haven't done the left-handed oil test, because one, you're probably going to use two hands to place this anyway. I don't think you have a problem lefty righty. It's not heavy. It's pretty lightweight. I think it's pretty usable. So let's talk about a redesign. And honestly, there's not much I would do. This is such a simple device. The materials are working well. They're easy to clean. I wonder if it could be size adjustable, so you can adjust it more specifically to the size of your pan. Put maybe some weak spots in here so that this could easily double up like this, or even give it a way to clip onto itself with some sort of silicone button that would allow you to get two sizes out of one. It may be just as easy to buy two sizes of this because it's such a simple device, but I guess I'm wondering if there would be a way to have fry wall double up on itself easily so that you can adjust it to a different size, or at least one other size frying pan. Let's talk about a buy rating. In a 5 out of 5 scale, I would give it a 5. Folds up to almost nothing. It's really effective. Even if you already own a splatter guard, you may find it more convenient to use this once in a while. I think it works really well. No reason not to have one. 2-in-1 fry clip. This is the 2-in-1 fry clip. Its purpose in life is to pick food out of a pot of boiling oil and let it drain. Let's see if it actually works. We've got some mozzarella sticks and a chicken cutlet. Step number 1 is grab, and this is a little problematic. I can actually get to this easily. Give it a demerit for grabbing, but let's go in one at a time. We'll let it fry. They're a little bit easier to grab because the mozzarella sticks are floating. And I'd say these are pretty well done. Let's try the chicken cutlet. I can grab it, but not that securely. Gonna go in and let's give that chicken a few minutes. Chickens can't fly, but they sure can fry. Okay, this is looking pretty good, so I'm gonna take it out of the bath and onto the rack, and we'll let that cool. Let's see how the 2-in-1 fry clip compares to tongs. So we're gonna start with the mozzarella sticks that were made with the 2-in-1 fry clip. I'm good with this. I would say result-wise, 50-50. Let's talk about effectiveness of the 2-in-1 fry clip. And I would say it's a 1. I just didn't like how difficult it was to pick something up. In terms of usability, I would give this a 1 out of 5. I'm not really sure this screen is doing anything for you. And it certainly is difficult to get down and grip something because this is much larger than the opposite part of the tong. And I think you're in for quite a bit of cleanup. So I would say it is the 1-in-1 fry clip. So let's talk about a redesign. So I would do a couple of things here. I would do something a little different with this handle shape. Give it just a little more secure pinch so that it is less likely to slip around in your hands. I think I would change this shape to be something that would grab a little more. I may even go out to this side, have to experiment with that. Come out to this side and this side. You want to give the ability to go in there at different angles. I don't think you need this screen at all. I would make this part more like a slotted spatula because the oil is going to drain no matter what. You don't need a screen. And I think from the side view, I think maybe this would want to dip down and become more of a scoop. That would have to work in unison with the tongs coming across the top. But I think if we're going to use this to scoop and to hold it there for a little bit, this wants to come down and pinch. I think I would also put a shape here. And what that would do is any oil is traveling. It's going to come here and drip. That's preventive. It's hot oil. You don't want to mess with it. Let's talk about a buy rating for the 2-in-1 fry clip. And maybe no surprise at this point, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5. Whoever designed this needs to be fired. The Norpro Tortilla Fry Basket. This in front of me is the Norpro Wire Tortilla Fry Basket, or should I say baskets. Its purpose in life is to help you fulfill your dream of making your own tortilla bowls. Let's see how effective it is. Tortilla goes in the small basket. The larger basket goes up top. This isn't perfectly aligned, but I think it's close enough. And let's go. These parts did not stay together. I'm going to try to balance them. Seems like they should clip together, or at least nest into each other so they don't go off angle. Starting to get a little brown, so I'll just give it a few more seconds. And let's try that. So what's going to happen when I lift this, of course, is I'm going to have a bowl full of hot oil. So I'm going to empty that out. I'm going to put it aside. See what happens if I just invert it. I think it'll just pop out. Let's turn it around, see what we have. But yeah, it's not perfectly even as a bowl, but it's usable. Let's try this a different way. Let's say you have 2 equal size sieves at home. Let's see how this compares with the Norpro Wire Tortilla Fry Basket. So on this side, I have the taco bowl made with the wire fry basket. On this side, I have the taco bowl improvised using 2 different sieves. Let's start eating them. Surprisingly similar. Of course, it's not the taste that's going to vary anyway. I just felt like having some 6,000 calorie salads. But I would say this is creating a much more approachable bowl. So let's talk about effectiveness rating. Let's give it a 3.5, because I think if you really want to make tortilla bowls, this is not a bad way to go. I'm not going to do the left-handed oil test. I think it's obvious what's going to work lefty or righty with a healthy hand, or maybe with a hand that may have some physical challenges. Usability, I would say it could use some improvement there. I'm going to give it a 3.5 again. I do think that just with a couple of simple experiments, the design team or the engineering team could have come up with some pretty useful improvements. Let's talk about a redesign. I think there are a couple of things that I would do here. One is I would think about the final result of the tortilla bowl and make sure that when these 2 wire frames come together, they help form a shape like that. And the way to mesh them up is make sure that these 2 handles fit together. I would do something on that first handle that would make it sit or lock into the bottom handle so they align. One other thing I would do is that the deeper this is, the more conducive it's going to be to larger bowls. That would make this come up a little bit higher so that when it goes into the bowl, it is not tilted. We want it to be even so that there's no tortilla sticking out of the oil. It is a little disappointing that when you put it down, it tilts that way. I don't know if that means I would put a little foot on this so that it doesn't fall over, so it stands as you're placing things inside. Let's give it, for a buy rating, 3.5. I think it is a little on the crude side. It's not as fully designed or fully thought out as I would hope. Mini deep fryer set. Its purpose in life is to have all your deep frying needs put together in one set. Let's see how effective it is. You guys ready for the hot tub? It's been in about a minute or 2. Let's see how we're doing. Oh yeah, this color's looking pretty good. 1, 2, 3, they're all out. I would say we are ready to eat. And they are good. I'll avoid making a comment about the contradiction between jumbo and shrimp. It's been overdone. Let's see how the mini deep fryer compares with using a regular pot and a wire spider. It tastes just fine. In terms of effectiveness, I would give the mini deep fryer set a 2 out of 5. Why would you design a square basket to fit into this semicircle round hole? In terms of usability, I would give this a 2 out of 5. No better, because I think the parts are just not working in a way that I feel really confident about the way they're put together. The thermometer is kind of loose. It doesn't go all the way to the bottom. So if you don't have enough oil, if you wanted to just fry a little bit and use a little bit of oil, this is not going to do it for you. At least the thermometer's not. So let's talk about a redesign. Let me start off with something really, really basic. Before redesigning it, or in lieu of redesigning, I would put some identification on these things to let you know where they came from, just so you know where all your parts are. In addition to that, an even better solution would be to have these things fit together like a set so that these can close up and get stored in one single pot. That could possibly happen, for instance, if this handle folded over. I would make this a size or shape that would allow it to store in as well. And then I would figure out some way to safely store the thermometer because it's got a glass front. You don't want to crack that. I would maybe consider having this come out a little further. To do that, I would think about coming out either out further or higher here with that handle. I would think about putting the thermometer here. It just seems like you would have more access. If that was the case, you don't have to work over the thermometer. I would even think about reshaping these handles. I think I would make these a little more sizable and square them off, because I think you're going to be able to get a better grip on these if you can get a few fingers underneath, and those fingers could keep the pot from rocking. Let's talk about a buy rating, and I think I'm going to go a little bit low on this one. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5, and I would only recommend it if you only fry things like this occasionally. If you're going to do it on a continuous basis, I think its deficiencies are going to really surface and you're not going to be that happy with it. So as often is the case, we have some hits and some misses. Some things where maybe you want to buy, and some of the things I think you'd be better off avoiding. Again, I think we're finding products that were made by people who don't spend a whole lot of time in the kitchen.